From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
On Saturday night, the House passes a historic $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill. In this Forced Stimulus Check Update 2021, we go over this historic vote that happened Saturday night that now passes Cluster 1, 2, and 3 checks covered in this channel. Cluster number 1, hazard pay, individuals' checks for seniors, workers. Cluster number 2, checks for paid leave and family leave. Cluster number 3, seniors' checks, and also workers' checks. The incredible details is now it's heading to a vote, but what about the infrastructure, which starts for a vote today? In this recording, we'll explain the two different types of votes and what's going on. We'll go over why Nancy Pelosi wants to hear input from the senators and the president about that passage of that bill over the weekend, or markup of the bill. And then we go over those monthly stimulus checks, those IRS MSC checks. As staffers from nearly 1,000 viewers of this channel told by Warren, Wyden, and Sanders, AOC, Jalopal, Pelosi that there's an MSC IRS check in there. Minutes ago, one viewer called no less than 4 offices and said the 3 House members said again they're putting it in there. But one senator's office described as rude, described as passing off the buck, and saying not going to really care about you whatsoever. Is someone folding like a lawn chair once again? It just sounds like 2020 all over again. Which senator may be folding like a lawn chair? Because we got to focus on those House members. I'll explain all the incredible details. It's breaking news right now as we go into the big 5 days. We'll be going over the government shutdown expected for Friday. We'll be going over your 5th stimulus checks, and we'll be going over additional sums of money for 3rd stimulus. But the passage of that recon bill on Saturday night was historic. I'll explain all the details, and it starts right now on Mornings LALATE. Everybody, if it's beautiful Monday morning, I'm so excited for you to join me across the globe. Thank you for making Mornings Countdown an hour, 2 hours before this show, our most watched broadcast, I think, in nearly 3 months. Wow. In this recording, we'll go over your Forced Stimulus Check Update 2021 as the passage of a $3.5 trillion package happened on Saturday night. It's basically the markup of what will be a bill called the Build Back America, $3.5 trillion. All those clusters of checks covered on this channel, 1, 2, and 3 clusters got in there and were passed Saturday night. So then what about the vote today about the roads and bridges, and when would the vote on this one happen? What about the government shutdown on Friday? Does that zoom things up? And then what about those monthly IRS stimulus checks? As Democratic leaders, nearly 1,000 viewers of this channel told that the negotiations were near complete going into the weekend, that there was a monthly stimulus check provision in there. That's $1,000 a month after the first month, the $2,000 running 6 months. Offices of Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, Wyden telling viewers of this channel, 1,000 of them, that the checks are in there and monthly, and Jalopal and Omar. And why is one office described this morning by one viewer as incredibly rude and doesn't even want to hear from you? Oh boy, is someone folding like a lawn chair? We'll go over all the incredible details. And this is Mornings LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Mornings Count Crypto at 10 a.m. live on air. Then 11 a.m. is noontime. But boy, the situation is fluid. It is very fluid. Even Pelosi's not quite sure how the next 4 days will pan out. So you cannot miss a video anytime throughout the day. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible loving family where people fight and push together. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Casino VIP. The link is under the video. Let's go over what happened on Saturday. I really appreciate you for tuning in over the weekend because I told you last weekend was going to be a biggie. It was. Broadcast media closed, print media closed, YouTube channels otherwise closed. But I delivered to you on Saturday night, Sunday morning, the breaking details. Saturday night, the House Budget Committee approved a $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill. The recon, aka forced stimulus, was passed by the Budget Committee in the House. This is a subcommittee, confirming not one, but three of the exclusives of this channel over the last few months. That one, the write-up would happen by the House members. Two, that the House members would vote first and the Budget Committee subcommittee first. Number three, then it would go to the House floor. All those things happened. They were literally calling in from their offices, from their homes, their kitchens, their patios, their coffee shops. They were calling in remotely. Republicans voted against, Democrats voted in favor, and it passed. $3.5 trillion, confirming that all those checks, all those incredible checks, which I've been detailing on this channel, from hazard pay, checks for seniors, checks for the vehicles, checks for elderly, checks for single individuals, checks for workers, got in there. They all got in there. More about the MSC IRS checks just coming up in a second. We don't know about them just yet. But the other checks all got in there, $3.5 trillion. So then what is next? Well, between Monday and Friday, Nancy Pelosi, the Speaker of the House, has to figure out how to call this for a vote on the House floor, how to start the voting today on the infrastructure and finish it by Friday, and how to figure out if there's a potential solution to the debt ceiling limit to have it not go to get closed down on Friday. All in 5 days. And guess what? I'm covering all that in this video, all 45 minutes of this video, so stay to the very end. Let's cut to the first 645 pages of checks that got in there. The first 645 pages of checks, which were detailed on this channel over the last week, got in there. The whole bill is 2,400 pages. It's called Build Back Better Act for America. And the first 645 pages signals a few things. Number one, this recon is checks for everyone, and it's not pandemic related. Single individuals, married couple, elderly, everyone's in there. And it's not pandemic related. The first 645 pages, these are the checks. Hazard pay, individuals, a single, elderly, young children, $51,000 of MSC, college grants, and home repairs, bikes, cars, and trucks. Let's go over each of them one at a time. First, hazard pay got in there. What a success for this channel. This channel made no less than 500 videos advocating for hazard pay in 2020, the single biggest place on the planet, and they got it in their lifetime. What are they going to do? They're going to modify an old tax code called the Earned Income Tax Credit, EIC, broaden the eligibility so more people qualify for it, and then increasing the amount of money so that every year that you work as an essential worker, you would get this money. It is deliciousness. Then the next check is a big surprise. Up to $4,000 a year if you care for an elderly person at home. Eligibility is still pending, but this is a home provider for someone elderly at the household. Incredible. Then the other side, they're doing the flip side. $4,000, up to $4,000 a year for care for a young child. College students got 3 pots of money in there, a grant going to the university, a grant going to the student, some cases, and then also the Pell's grant made tax-free. Well, $51,000 of monthly stimulus checks got in there. They took the CDC and made it lifetime. The child tax credit will be lifetime with a new modification, which they did at the 11th hour, late Saturday night. What is it? If you gave birth to a new child over the weekend, congratulations. If you're in a low-income household, you'll get up to $300 a month every month for every year, up to 18 years, which is $51,000 per child under the CTC. But they modified the code. They realized they had missed out in one group of adult, and that adult is, for example, a foster parent. A foster parent that raises a child all the way to age 18 was currently getting Zippo because the provision said you had to be a blood relative. They fixed it. So now if the guardian of that child that's raising the child is someone that's not a blood relative, you are going to get paid that as well. Deliciousness. Then repairs to the home. They got it in there. If you live in a low-income household, a low-income community, there are repairs in there from the federal government. They'll pick up certain tabs. Incredible. Then money for bikes, cars, and trucks if they're made by the U.S. auto manufacturers and they're electrics. First, bikes, up to 15% for the purchase price. Vehicles, $7,500 personal and also business, a little bit more. And then trucks, a little bit more as well. Incredible. That's the first cluster of checks. Got it in on the past recon, past Saturday night in the House subcommittee. Now, what's coming up next? I'm going to go over the second cluster that got in there, passed. The third cluster got in there, passed, and then we'll be going over to the MSC IRS check in a second. But let's first take a detour for just a blink of an eye. Third stimulus. Big surprise, as additional $13 billion did go out 2 weeks ago from the federal government under third stimulus for rent, utilities, and food. Something I haven't said very clearly before. I want to make it very clear. The money already went out. So even though there's a federal government shutdown looming, this money's already gone out. Treasury is smart to get it out 2 weeks ago. The Treasury is happy to provide the state and local governments with these additional resources to help Americans in need of rental assistance. Again, this is rent, utility, mortgage assistance. If you remember this channel, which I hope you are, the link's under the video, the announcement is in the newsletter. I'll be going over more about this money and how to get it in just a few seconds later in this video. But let's cut over to cluster number 2. Those checks got in there, and they are deliciousness because it's a lot of money. The first one is if you're a worker and you have to stay at home because of paid family leave or paid medical leave. Family leave is your wife is pregnant. Medical leave is your son broke their leg. How much does it pay? A fortune. Under third stimulus is going to pay $1,700 a week if you made $70,000 or more per year. Let's split it in half. $35,000 a year, then that would be $800 a week. Split in half again, $15,000 a year, that would be about $400 a week. Wow, incredible sums of money. Then we got more clusters, more checks in the second cluster, like childcare programs, more checks for that. Household tax credits, more checks for that. Medicare benefits, this is seniors checks, including dental checks, vision, hearing checks, and lowering Medicare eligibility age. That's coming up also in the third cluster. Then weatherizing your home checks. I love it. It's the second check in there for the home. Weatherizing your home, definitely needed when the Purple Hawk's on the roof of Fox News. Well, those weatherizing checks include things like, for example, you're in a tornado zone or a fire area. Great news. Then they got checks more in there for education. Free pre-kindergarten across the country. Then tuition-free community college. Definitely needed because so many people are now taking that very popular class called What the Hell is LALATE Saying? 101. It's the class that teaches you how to understand the foreign dialect called Los Angeles. They just talk funny out there. They just do. I don't understand what they're saying. Pardon my French, but you know, now you can take the class, so you'll know. Now you'll be fluent in what the world is saying in Los Angeles. Then we got checks for green energy. Wow. In a second, I'll go over the third cluster. But where are they? What are they doing? What's going on? Let's go over all the details. Some of them I detailed exclusively over the last few months now came true, and some of them they really don't even know. First, over the last 3 months, I told you that the House and Senate Democrats together would be negotiating the provisions. They are. Pelosi announced as soon as the recon passed the House subcommittee on Saturday that she's still negotiating with the Senate. In fact, her exact words were, it continues, we continue with the Senate. Negotiations continue with the Senate was her exact words. She also described the next few days as a time of intensity. Number 2. The Pelosi also confirmed today that she's still negotiating with the president and the senators about the language. Number 3, I had told you that the House Democrats would be writing it up. They did. I had told you the House Democrats would call for a vote first, not the senators. They are. This is huge because guess what? Pelosi could call this for a vote, the recon, on the House floor in a blink of an eye, and would pass within a blink of an eye, a rubber stamp. It wouldn't take more than 10 seconds. But she's holding it up because she wants to make sure she has everyone on board. This is big for advocacy for this channel. I'll be going over this later in this video. And then what about infrastructure? Does the infrastructure go vote for first, or does that make a difference? And how many days is the infrastructure voting going to take? Is it going to take all 5 days? And what about the debt ceiling limit vote later this week? Yes, I'm going to go over all those details coming up. And guess what? These are very fluid situations. In some cases, Pelosi's not quite sure what may happen. I'll explain to you what's going on later in this video. But let's cut to the third cluster checks. These are the president's checks. They got in there, passed on Saturday in that subcommittee of the House Budget Committee. These are checks with an additional $107 billion to you and a world exclusive. Free school meals for all checks, tax break checks, cheaper prescription medication checks, free internet checks, checks for farmers, checks for clean energy, checks for workers, checks for independent contractors, and checks for dental, vision, and hearing care checks. Wow. Now, What happened? Well, 2 weeks ago, the Senate parliamentarian ruled one of the checks in there can't belong in there. It's the judiciary check. I went back in my notes, cross-reference, and I realized, wait a second, no one's talking about how much money that is. It's $107 billion. Yes. So now they reallocated that money to you. Oh boy, it's a big one. Then two of the checks in this third cluster are automatic. First, cheaper prescription medication. How would this work? Let's say you have to go to a pharmacy today and pay for a prescription. You would take two $20 bills out of your wallet, for example. This becomes law shortly thereafter. Then you would only have to take one $20 bill out of your wallet. Then on the other side, they're going to give free internet across the globe. Red, blue states, rich and poor. Free internet companies will be set up by local cities and counties. So you just reach out to them and say, hey, what's the username and password? The username is Blaine66. The password is Scarf101. And there you go. In the second half of this video, we'll be going over those IRS monthly stimulus checks. Over the last 6 weeks, viewers of this channel have been told, nearly 1,000 viewers of this channel have been told by senators and House members that a monthly stimulus check is going in there. We have been told the same comment over and over again. I'll be going over what those senators have told viewers. Going into the weekend, they told viewers that the negotiations were near complete on the inclusion of a monthly stimulus check, and that monthly stimulus check would be $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000 and would run for 6 months. Those representations being told to 1,000 viewers of this channel from Sanders' office, Coon's office, Warren's office, Schumer's office, Casey's office, Wyden's office, AOC, Jalopal, and Pelosi's office. Meantime, one viewer minutes ago made several phone calls to different offices. All have their offices and what they said this Monday morning. Wow, it's just happening minutes ago. We'll be cutting over to third stimulus that has a lot of money to get to. I'll be going over the voting process, which is very, very fascinating. We got 5 days of jam-packed dramatics like you've never seen before. You can't blink an eye. Something's going to change. Something will change every 10 seconds on this channel in the next 5 days. You can't miss a video. Then we'll be cutting as well to fifth stimulus, to the debt ceiling limit shutdown expected for Friday, and more. Oh boy, is it a big morning as the recon passes the House Budget Committee on Saturday. I'll have more about that, and I'll be back with you in 60 seconds as Mornings LA continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues direct from Santa Monica, live in Santa Monica, as Mornings LA continues. As the $3.5 trillion reconciliation budget bill passes a budget subcommittee on Saturday night. I'll go over the latest details of what they passed, more about those incredible 3 clusters of checks, lots of checks, $3.5 trillion are coming to you in that recon. We'll be cutting over to fifth stimulus. We'll be cutting over to third stimulus. We'll be cutting over to the debt ceiling limit, and we'll be going over what's going on with the inclusion or non-inclusion of those MSCs, what House members said this morning, and what one senator's office said on the other side. All those details and more. There's a lot coming up. And boy, advocacy is here. And advocacy starts here. And this is LALATE. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Daily members are delivered that newsletter that has all the big money under first, second, and third stimulus, which I'm going to get to in a second, so consider becoming a member. And don't forget to sign up for those LALATE alerts. It's totally free at news.late.alerts. You would have gotten the alert over the weekend when that House passage occurred. Let's go to the big surprise as third stimulus has an additional cash infusion from this person. Janet Yellen was smart to get that $13 billion out week ago before the government shutdown. It's the final cash infusion for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. And I'm going to show you how to get this big money and how to get more money if you've already got some money from this channel. Get a pen, paper, and cell phone ready. This is a lot of massive money you can get. We're going to over rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and SNAP, and more money as well. First, when we look at the rent, the numbers have gone up 200%. Utilities gone up 300%. And SNAP gone up 400% for viewers of this channel because the Purple Hawks are absolutely pounding and doing big success stories in the last few days. Remember Mark, $51,000 Mark? He is not alone because viewers are now getting $80,000 and more. But let's go over what happened in the last 30 days. 30 days ago, these were the numbers for rent that viewers were getting, 20 to 27,000. Well, Jen, about a week ago, got nearly 40,000. Several viewers have gotten high $30,000 ranges as well. Mark's brother-in-law got $15,000 for utilities, a growth of 300% in 1 month. Then SNAP, Mark's brother-in-law got $21,000, a growth of nearly 400% in just a month. Get that pen, paper, cell phone ready. It's your turn to get this big money starting right now. I'm going to show you 6 places to reach out to. Reach out to all 6. They have different eligibility. They have different pots of money. Number 2, listen to the keywords I say in the video. And number 3, I want you to focus on the nonprofits, which I'm going to show you as well. All right, here are the 6 places you reach out to. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, State House Authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. Remember, they have their own pots of money. They have their different eligibility. Reach out to all 6 of 6. Let's go over the 6 again. City Hall, City House Authority. County Hall, County House Authority. State Hall, and State House Authority. Next, if you're a member of this channel, which I hope you are, the link's under the video, daily in the newsletter, which comes out from me Monday through Friday, I include now the Treasury press release about the $13 billion. I want you to read that before you make the phone call so you know what it's called when you call up and ask. If they say we haven't got to the money yet, say, can I be on the waiting list? If they don't have a waiting list, say, can I call tomorrow? Every state, red, blue, rich, poor, county, city, will be getting the money, but it won't be there forever. So I want you to pounce as a true Purple Hawk. Then utilities, reach out to all utility companies. If you got 5, reach out to 5. Utility assistance because of COVID, keywords. And finally, it's important to lean on the nonprofits. One viewer wants you to know that overnight she got a brand new refrigerator. This is another viewer. This is not the same viewer that I tell you about the refrigerator and the furnace and the window fix. I think this viewer was St. Vincent de Paul. I got the message just about 20 minutes ago. Another viewer wants you to know that St. Vincent de Paul paid their rent in less than 24 hours of approval. Another viewer, 24-hour turnaround time for United Way. Here are the 5 nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. They're featured in the new ramped-up newsletter for members daily. It's important to understand that the nonprofits pay for more items that the federal government doesn't pay for, like homelessness into shelters, money for food, appliances, clothing. Sometimes they're all quite different. United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. Next, money for SNAP. SNAP is money for food. You get it from Department of Agriculture. Raises your benefits up an average of 25% lifetime automatically. Mark's brother-in-law going from 21 to 25,000. As we approach the month of October, this month of September is causing confusion. Let me tell you why. Because there's 2 letters coming out from SNAP. The first one says, sorry, your benefits are dropping. And then there's another letter behind it that says, hi, your benefits are going up. I know it's confusing. Watch for the second letter that says, okay, now your benefits are going up an average of 25% automatically in October. Don't worry about the first letter. Then we have 2 checks coming back for unemployment benefits, one from your state That raises your benefits up if you're overpaid due to computer error. Average payment is $2,000 to $5,000. And then the refund check back from your state, from the federal government. This is the unemployment benefits you pay taxes on. Average payment is $2,000 to $1,200. Lynn, Glenn, Margaret, Cod, Michael got it. If you got in any of these monies from this channel, like Lynn, Glenn, and Gail, post in the live chat right now. Because when you do, you inspire other people to get these big sums of money. Finally, if you haven't become a Purple Hawk, please do. The link is under the video. Purple Hawks are delivered daily from me to them, the member newsletter, formerly the PDFs, sent out about 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, from the YouTube community page, written by me, and also the LA alert system. It has in there the big sums of money. That's how viewers like Johnny got 80,000, Mark 50,000, Johnny's friends getting 100,000, Mark's brother and brother-in-law, neighbor getting 40,000, Lorraine 100,000. There is a lot of money under first, second, and third stimulus for you to get, and it's detailed in there. And as soon as fourth stimulus becomes law and all those $3.5 trillion of checks are approved, I will be going over each and every single one of them and showing them to you in the newsletter. It's important to you make a promise to yourself that if you've gotten some of the sums of money from this channel, I want you to get more money. And you haven't gotten any money, I want you to get as well. I want you to get money as far into 2022 for rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance as possible. Why? Because a lot of these programs may not come back under fourth stimulus, and we're still in late summer, early fall. The nonprofits reportedly are not getting that many phone calls at the moment. Do not wait to December to start calling them when everyone's calling because of heating oil and it's cold. Call now. They're not getting a lot of calls at the moment. Get the money paid as far as you can into 2022 and send me your success story on social media. I'd love to feature it on air. And with that, we go into the final 15 minutes of this video, starting right now with a big extended broadcast because we got a lot to go over. We're going to go over the voting process. We're going to go over the IRS MSC checks. We're going to go over the debt ceiling limit, the potential government shutdown on Friday. We'll be going over the infrastructure vote. We got a lot coming up, so I appreciate you staying to the end because, boy, it's a very fluid situation. Number one is the IRS monthly stimulus check. Over the last 8 weeks, nearly 1,000 viewers of this channel, if not more, have been told by countless Democratic senators and House member staffers that a stimulus check provision is inserted into the recon. That is $1,000 a month after the first month of 2000, running up to 6 months. Those statements have been said over and over again to viewers of this channel. And the offices that have told the viewers of this channel consistently have been Coons. Senators of the following: Coons, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Casey, and Wyden's office have told nearly 1,000 viewers of this channel the same message about the inclusion of a MSC IRS check. AOC Jalapal and also Omar and Pelosi's office confirming the same. Let me explain what's happening now at Mornings LA right now. You have to presume, as an advocate for something, that something is not in there down to the finish line, because we got a few steps before the finish line. We have the House floor for a vote, we have the Senate, and then we have the President. So we have a couple of steps, and things can go in and out. In the last 24 hours, a lot of things have gone in and out and been modified. And Pelosi specifically said, I'm not putting for a House floor vote yet because things need to still get modified. So, 8 weeks ago, I said pick up the phone and call your Democratic senators and advocate for a stimulus check. And Senator Chris Coons was the first one to tell viewers of this channel, yes, he is putting in a monthly stimulus check. WR picked up the phone and called Senator Chris Coons and advocated. I need it. My family needs it. I got to tell you why I need it. And Senator Chris Coons' staff are telling WR, yes, Senator Chris Coons will be putting a monthly stimulus check provision in there. 3 weeks ago, things changed very quickly when Bernie Sanders told press that as a budget chairman for the Senate Budget Committee, he likes to be out amongst the people when writing that recon budget bill. I said, that's a clear message that he wants to hear from you. And at that time, I said, pick up the phone and advocate. And viewers did. Margaret did. Lynn Glenn did. And brother Joshua advocated as well. What does advocacy look like? The face of advocacy took a wonderful look over the last 3 days when people really took it to another level. One viewer, Margaret, tells me just 5 minutes ago that she got off with one of the senator's offices and she was in tears, and so were they when she described her situation. Another different Margaret, not the same Margaret, had this message for me late last week. She said she called, and honestly, the women and I were crying when she understood what I went through. Another viewer cried, and the staffer said, yes, I'm putting it in there. When she said, I'm on SSI and SSDI. During this pandemic, I lost my husband. I had 10 surgeries. I'm raising 2 teenage daughters on just a benefits check. It's not enough. And the staffer telling her, yes, that stimulus check is in there. That's the face of advocacy. Brother Joshua did that. He's a 2020 volunteer to the community page, helped thousands of viewers to this channel get money for rent and utilities in fall 2020. Purple Hawk, longtime viewer of this channel, picked up the phone and called Senator Bernie Sanders' office 3 weeks ago, advocated for a stimulus check. And Sanders' office telling Brother Joshua, yes, Sanders will be inserting a stimulus check provision, $1,000 to $1,400, 3 to 6 months, but needs to hear from you and needs to hear that you're advocating for him. Listen to those key words, because I'm going to go back over them later in this video. Yeah, I think you know where I'm going. Yeah, I think you know where I'm going. So he said, I need to hear from you, to Brother Joshua. And that's what the viewers of this channel did. They made themselves heard. Not just to one office, but to as many Senate and House offices as possible. And each and every single one of them, after another, said, I'm inserting a monthly stimulus check, IRS check in there, in the forced stimulus recon. Donnie calling up Sanders' office and speaking to the secretary. And the secretary said they're doing a forced stimulus check. This is Donnie's message to me, you see on the screen. And she said, okay, they're doing a forced stimulus check, saying I need it, my family needs it, I need it. Hurricane Tina, wonderful longtime viewer, advocating to Sanders' office why she needs it, and Sanders' office saying they're putting another stimulus check in there. Then Carolyn Smith calling Sanders' office and talking to the secretary, saying we need it. People are losing their houses and everything they got, and Sanders' office saying they're putting a stimulus check in there. Then Yaya calling Ron Wyden's office, advocating for a stimulus check, and Ron Wyden's office saying they're putting a stimulus check in there, and maybe SS200. Then Will showed us the advocacy at another level, calling up 3 offices, Sanders, Schumer, and Liz Warren, all in one day, and Liz Warren's office saying yes, she is on board and she's putting a stimulus check in there of $1,400 to $2,000, 6 to 12 months. Lorica calling Bob Casey's office and him saying that they're putting it in there and they're currently negotiating the amount of the stimulus checks. Yes, they're in the negotiations now for that amount of the stimulus check. That was 2 weeks ago. By the end of by about a week and a half ago, I said, okay, all these senators have been continually telling viewers, hundreds of viewers at that point, that they're inserted in there, but you need to go to the House members, Jalapal, AOC, Omar, Pelosi, and advocate with them. And Paul did. 2 Fridays ago, he called up AOC's office and advocated for a stimulus check. And AOC's office telling Paul, this is his message. Paul saying the staffer said that AOC will be adding it to the bill. $1,000 every month for 12 months after the first month of $2,000. That's AOC's office confirming the inclusion of it. Then Janice calling Jalapal, and she did say yes, the forced stimulus check is in there. Janice also calling Omar's office late last week and getting the same confirmation as well. Mark, $51,000 Mark, calling Pelosi's office a week ago today. And Pelosi's office saying, yes, there will be a forced stimulus check of the $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter, and that they're almost done negotiating it. Lorraine making the same phone call as well. And the confirmations continuing by the end of last week as Ida calling Omar. And they said they are putting $2,000 the first month they're in and $1,000 thereafter for 6 months. And then Lynn Glenn calling Jalapal's office and speaking to her secretary. And her secretary for Jalapal saying, yes, they're going to be giving us stimulus checks. Well, here is where you need to view the situation. And I want to show you a strange twist you're hearing for the first time on Mornings LALATE starting right now. You have to view the situation as always, it's not in there. You just sort of have to. Why? Because currently we have a marked up draft of a bill approved in the House Committee for the budget. It's not a bill until it's on the House floor with the HR in front of it. So it can still get modified. In fact, that's what Pelosi says. I'm in negotiations right now with the Senate on modification of the markup, obviously. She's in negotiations with the president on markup of the, for changes to the markup. Then when it's on the House floor, it can still get changed. Over to the Senate with the 2-day vote-a-rama, the senators can still change it. There's a lot of opportunities to change it. Here's what you need to know, is that going into the weekend, over 1,000 viewers of this channel had been told by nearly a dozen senators and House members, senators, AOC, senators Casey, Coons, Warren, Sanders, Schumer, that there's a monthly stimulus check in there, and House members, AOC, Jalapal, Omar, Pelosi. Pelosi's office telling countless viewers, including Dragon, that they're near finalization of negotiations to write it up as $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. So you have to presume, however, it's not in there down to the finish line and advocate. Let me tell you what happened a few seconds ago. Every message is different, and I get a lot of strange messages on a given day. But minutes ago, a person sent me a very nice message on a private message on social media. Some of them, are just sort of all over the place, but this one was delicious. And the viewer said, I called up Jalapal's office. They couldn't be nicer. They said they're fighting to put it in there. And the language was they're pushing to put it in there, meaning that it was not done, but they're still fighting to put it in there. So first, it was not done yet, meaning the whole bill was not done, and that Jalapal was trying to put it in there. The message also said Pelosi's office is trying to put it in there as well. That is consistent with whatever everyone else has said. The viewer also said, I called Bernie's office, and they said they don't want to hear from you anymore. They said, we just don't want to talk about this subject anymore. Oh. Let me remind you something. In 2020, in fall 2020, Bernie Sanders was on every single broadcast channel saying in the continuing resolution budget bill that him and Josh Hawley were going to hold up the Senate unless there's a $2,000 stimulus check in there. Do you remember that? Do you remember Bernie Sanders saying, I'm going to block the vote on the Senate unless there's a $2,000 stimulus check in there? He said it no less than 1,000 times. And then guess what? He just folded like a lawn chair when they said, we'll do $600. So I don't know if this is a one-off opportunity, a one situation where a person was told, our office doesn't want to hear about it anymore. The point that I'm trying to make, however, is the following. Jalapal's office, Omar's office, Pelosi's office, AOC's office is very focused on this inclusion of the monthly stimulus check. They are laser focused on this situation. The bill will start on the House. It will be called on the House first. So let's go to the voting process because this is very important. Over the last 3 months, I've told you that the House will write it up. Bernie's not writing it up. He's never had the ability to write it up. The House is writing it up. They're deferring to the senators for negotiations and agreement on what they want to do. But it's the House that ultimately writes it up. And Pelosi's office has told countless viewers of this channel that AOC, Omar, and Pelosi are writing it up, the provision. Number two, the vote will start on the House side. And so that's why it's important to advocate. Let's remember what advocacy looks like. Advocacy is explaining why you need something. I need it for my family, my church, my community. This is why I need this IRS MSC check. I need it for this particular reason. Treating legislators like Western Union is not appropriate. Treating them like FedEx tracking tool or IRS or UPS tracking tool, not appropriate. You have to advocate for things, not simply ask, where is my money? No. All right, let's go over to the voting process because this one is very, very peculiar and a very fluid situation, and it's turning to become really good potentially for us. Well, Monday, today, is when Pelosi will be calling a vote on the infrastructure, the roads and bridges, pursuant to her agreement with the problem creator guy. Now, over the weekend, I told you that I was looking at this vote and, maybe it's going to be called up and sort of killed in a second. Jalapal told us on Friday that if you were to call the vote on Monday for the roads and bridges, it's going to die among Democrats. They're not going to approve it, meaning that they're not going to approve it first before the recon. Well, a new statement today signals that the vote, meaning the tally of the vote, may not be to Friday on the roads and bridges, but that the whole voting process starts today. That basically they start today by saying, okay, we're calling up the roads and bridges for a vote. We'll now have some discussion. And those debates, this is how Pelosi could do it really well. We'll just have those debates drag on for a few weeks while we get the recon ready to call for a vote. So the vote on the bipartisan, the roads and bridges, may not be today. It may be as late as Friday. That's number one. Number two, my prediction is that they're likely not to let the roads and bridges pass, approved, unless the recon is passed about the same time, shortly before, shortly thereafter. It is very possible they can simply just put that recon to a vote on the House floor right at the same time and pass it. It's very possible they can call the vote, as I said over the weekend, on the roads and bridges, vote it down and say, hi, we killed the roads and bridges, now let's call the vote on the recon. Pass. Okay, now we'll recall the vote on the roads and bridges, now pass. That's also very possible as well. Let's go over the debt ceiling limit, which has an impact on the voting process. The debt ceiling limit conjures up three big questions. First, does it impact your checks and its delivery? No. If you're a recipient of Social Security checks, benefits checks like SSI, STI, federal employee checks, or federal agency checks, they're coming on time. If this goes on for a week, they're coming on time. If it goes for 2 weeks, they're coming on time. If this goes for 2 months, we'll check back on the subject matter. It's very, very common. This goes over 2 weeks over the deadline. Very, very common. Happened last year on this channel as well. Number two, it's important to understand that the debt ceiling limit has nothing to do with funding the recon. It just has nothing to do with it. The debt ceiling limit has to do with funding existing law, not funding marks up of what is going to be a bill that hasn't been called for a vote yet. Yeah, so the debt ceiling limit is for existing Trump laws and early Biden laws. Number three, the debt ceiling limit, does it impact the work schedule for all this? This is where it's becoming a very fluid situation and will change by the hour on this channel every day this week. You got to stay with me for every video because this is what's going on. Number one, the debt ceiling limit is out of the House. It's over in the Senate. Nancy Pelosi passed this last week. She passed a debt ceiling limit bill in the House in a blink of an eye. It went over to the Senate, so it's done. But does it impact the recon that's potentially going for a vote today, this week, and the infrastructure, which is going for a vote sometime this week as well? It does in a way that's potentially beneficial to us. Pelosi describes this week in a quote late Saturday as the next few days as a time of intensity. Potentially, the Democrats are looking at Monday through Friday as a time in which to pass the recon, pass the infrastructure, and pass the debt ceiling limit. All that in 5 days? That's a lot. Now, when you have a lot to do, it often works in your benefit. Pelosi got this, and the senators got this done brilliantly in second stimulus, where they saw a deadline. It was the holidays. They came together. They had the four corners. Remember those four corners? The head of the Senate, the head of the Senate, the second head of the Senate, the head of the House, the head of the second House. That emergency meeting, they called it and they got it done within just a blink of an eye. Yeah, when you have a lot to do, sometimes you get a lot of stuff done. And it's very important, especially when the roads and bridges is a bipartisan legislation and the debt ceiling limit should be as well. It has the ability to get a lot of things done in a very short period of time. So the next 5 days, next 4 days after today, Monday through Friday, are going to be heated like you could never seen. Meantime, advocate, AOC, Jalapal, Omar, and Pelosi. I want you to focus on the House side. For now, it looks like these are the core of the situation. It looks like these are the people who have really wanted to take care of you for the situation. Remember, it was the House bill. $1,000 a month after the first month of $2,000. Pandemic plus 1 year. Jalapal. It was Omar and AOC who wrote a letter saying they want $2,000 a month, and anything less would be not sufficient. And reportedly, it was Pelosi's office who told no less than a dozen viewers, as channel including Dragon, that she advocated for even more monthly, $1,400 to even $2,000 a month, 12 months, just last week. Couldn't get all the Democrats online, but the negotiations near complete. Pelosi, we don't know what's going on with modifying markups, except what Pelosi tells us, except what staffers tell us. And at the moment, Pelosi tells us that the marking up of the markup of what was passed on Saturday night, not yet still done. That's good news for us. Remember, House subcommittee vote first, House floor vote second, then 2-day vote-a-rama in the Senate last. A lot of opportunities to advocate every step of the way. Coming up next is morning's crypto at 10 a.m. Then we go to noontime, 11 a.m. I expect more updates by then. And then we go into afternoons at 1, afternoons at 3, and evenings at light. It's going to be a very fluid situation every single day. You cannot miss a single video. The situation with 3 different bodies of law having to be looked at the same time is something unprecedented. I'll have all the live coverage with you and tape coverage throughout today with new shows throughout the day. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused. I'll see you next on Morning's Crypto, starting in 5 minutes.